Hey, it's Talk Wrestling. We are live. It is just before 7 Eastern. Welcome, Kobe. Thank you for coming on in early. I know I said I was going to be on at 7 Eastern, and I'm getting itchy. I hate sitting around doing jack shit. So here I am. Welcome to Talk Wrestling. This is indeed Ask Me Anything because we do on this show. We ask me anything on this show, and I would normally bring in people from the green room, if you will, via video stream, but Monday was such a train wreck that I decided to hold off on that until we figure out why that's happening. Because it's unfortunately it's not working the way I want it to work, and I really want to have that be streamlined, if you will, prior to me having guests on full time. So I apologize. I won't be bringing anybody in on video today because I really want to focus on you guys and your questions. And I do have questions lined up from Twitter. For those of you that asked the questions early on Twitter, thank you so much, by the way, for doing that. I know it's easy to wait until Friday or Monday, as the case may be, on some weeks, and send them in right here during the comments. And it's easier to do it on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever, and I appreciate the input, so thank you guys. Mick, I will answer that right now. The reason I missed NoDQ Review is because I chose to. I had wanted to take a day off and recharge the batteries, if you will, and I did. And I also wanted to give other co-hosts on the show a chance to be on the show and do their thing. And I know Big G had been wanting to be on for the previous couple weeks, and I kind of highballed him or big leagued him. Not myself. I didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happened that way. So I felt, you know what? Go ahead and you guys do your thing. Honestly, yesterday at 4 o'clock my time, which is when they go on, according to 7 Eastern here, is I was knee or balls deep in chores. I was doing things all afternoon. I was going nuts, and I didn't realize it had become 7 Eastern. It was 8. Like, I completely lost track of the day. I even texted Caitlin and said, "Oh, I didn't know what time it was. How was the review?" Because I missed it. So that's what I was not on yesterday. So there's no grand conspiracy. I'm not in trouble. I'm not, I didn't do it because I just didn't want to be there. I chose to do my own thing, and it wasn't anything related to trouble with the channel or whatever. So don't, read into shit. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's answer the first question I have lined up, which is from Andy McManus, which his Twitter handle is at Andrew McManus 24, and he has a couple of questions. I have a few questions on here that I have not gotten to yet. So, Andy, first of all, let me get to your questions one at a time. I will answer them, I promise. But let me go ahead and answer them now. Let's get this one. The first one, I believe I may have answered this on the previous show. So if I did, forgive me. I don't realize if I did or not. So again, apologies. Why is it when WWE turns Seth Rollins heel, they insist on putting him with a group of stooges? Why can't they make him a standalone heel like Becky Lynch, Bobby Roode, or Razor Ramon? Well, first of all, when Bobby Roode turned heel, he went with Dolph Ziggler. So let's not kid ourselves. Bobby is great on his own, and he should be able to be on his own. And I think that he's getting a raw deal. I mean, again, you talk about a raw deal at WWE, you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in theory a year to work for the biggest wrestling company on the planet, and you feel you're getting a raw deal because you're not. JR is very fond of the word push. You're not getting your push, brother. I don't. I have a problem my own personal self with Bobby Roode's lack of time on television as a fan, but I don't see anything wrong with that. Again, Razor Ramon, you got to remember something. Razor Ramon was a special talent. Scott Hall is a special talent, and he didn't need anybody in 1993, 94, 95, and 96 until NWO started, obviously. Scott Hall was great on his own, and he did everything great on his own and as Razor Ramon, but he also did very, very well as part of the NWO and as part of the Wolfpack or the Clique or whatever. So he was a special talent. With Seth, I think as good a heel as Seth Rollins has proven to be, I think he works better when he has people to play off of, be it Noble and Mercury, be it the disciples he has now, be it the Shield, be it anybody that, Seth Rollins is a great person to have play off of him rather than just on his own. He is a good babyface on his own, but I think Seth as a heel is better with with minions or people around him. If that makes any sense. And he also asks, during the coronavirus pandemic, we have seen AEW, WWE, etc. doing their shows without an audience. What is the strangest environment you have ever had to do a wrestling show in? That is a easy question to answer. My first ever paid gig in wrestling, prior to me making money off the audio podcast I'm doing now, was a independent wrestling promotion. I'm not going to name their name because I don't feel that I need to promote people that, whatever. I'm not going to do it. But I worked I was doing play-by-play for them, and I did a horrible job. I was a miserable play-by-play guy, and I did such a bad job that even though the audio syncing wasn't my fault, because the gentleman promoting the show chose one audio feed for everything rather than this for this and this for this, that my audio of the show completely screwed up the entire broadcast, or the entire laying of the DVD. So yes, my bad, but you can see why it's not really. But point being, answer your question, the strange part of the environment was that we were in the middle of a rodeo arena. I mean, full on rodeo stadium seats, full on bull pit, horse pit, actually enclosed dirt mounds, and it smelled like a rodeo arena. It was very, very strange, very, very bizarre. Top it off, we had a 6-sided ring. So we had to put together a 6-sided ring. And I don't know if everybody's ever seen a 6-sided ring and put together, actually help put one together. Those beams are heavy as shit. They are the heaviest damn things I've ever seen in wrestling. I've put together many an independent ring in the course of my travels in this business, but never anything as heavy as that 6-sided ring that we had in the company I worked for in 2005. It was crazy. Completely, it was heavy, and yeah, it was definitely a strange environment, without question. Kobe, good question. Have you seen the True Story of WrestleMania DVD? It's great. Yes, actually I have. I do own that DVD set. I did enjoy it for what it was. Again, it's more of a puff piece than it is anything else. There was some legitimate truth to it, but it was a very good, very well put together DVD set. I enjoyed it myself. So, and I don't enjoy much about WWE's production DVDs, with the rare occasion. The NWO DVD, for example, was very, very well done. The Revolution DVD, I thought they could have done a little bit better with the what do you call it? The story of the Wolf Pack side of the things, and a few other things, but I think other than that, it could have been very, very, very easily done a little bit better. And so there's that. I'm just getting rid of that conversation because I don't really care right now. So yes, I have seen it. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's go with Mr. U. I keep forgetting how to say this guy's name. I feel like such an asshole. I even commented him on his support for the show and sent him a autographed picture that I was meaning to send a long time ago. So my bad. But Mr. Yuck, I'm gonna say it like it is right now. And I just realized I wore this shirt last week and this hat. The exact same shirt and hat. So sorry for the wardrobe similarities, but yeah. Anyway. With the current WWE cuts and wrestling in general forever being reformatted as we know it, do you think we'll think some sort of... We're live. With the current WWE cuts and wrestling in general forever being reformatted as we know it, do you ever think some form of old school wrestling territories will come back to fruition? I think I answered this on Monday, maybe on last week's Talk Wrestling, but I will readdress it because I don't remember if I did, so bear with me. The territories were never meant to be a national thing, if that makes any sense. The territories back in the, the dawning of wrestling, or the dawn of the territories in the 40s with the NWA, bringing them all together, into the 80s when Vince K. McMahon took over the world. I mean, it's called what it is. That 40-year span was not meant to be a nationally broadcast system. Yes, you had the occasional company that got a national TV deal, like the DuPont Network, whatever the hell it was called in Chicago, would broadcast all over the country. And Ragani had a deal with them for her brief period of time, if I remember the DVD correctly. But overall, the territories were meant to stay in their territories. They weren't meant to branch out. They weren't meant to go all over and do what Vince ended up doing, and what WCW did, and what the other companies did, and travel the country and cross into other territories, areas of the world and the country. So I don't think we'll see a territory-like system ever again, because no one territory belongs to anybody. With the exception, I will say, of the Garden, MSG in New York, being primarily a WWE building. But as we saw last year, I believe it was, maybe the year before, Ring of Honor New Japan ran a show at the Garden. So anything is possible, but I don't think the territory system as it was, or any sort of territorial area things, will take place regardless of what's going on now. And yes, it's a unique situation. And yes, things are changing minute by minute in this world, especially in wrestling, of course in the medical field also. But I don't foresee a situation where we're going to have a reintroduction or a redo of the territories, if that makes any sense. So good question, though. I enjoyed it very much. Let's get to this. Alyssa Stansbury. Have Seth Rollins heel run lackluster. Why get title shot? Can't. Jesus. Seth stand on his own. Not feeling healed. Turn. Don't laugh. Kind of annoying. Not big stand on own. Not. Wow. Okay. I don't know exactly what you're trying to say, so I'm sorry for my lack of comprehension. But I addressed Seth Rollins. So I question, but I'm not going to answer it on air, because it's really between the boss and the talent. And that's all I'm going to say. Colin, what's up, brother? Nice European Championship. Holy shit. If you guys don't follow the Cleaver Colin Andrew on social media, you need to get on that shit right now. And I think it's on the Aftermatch Instagram as well. The unveiling of his European Championship. Holy God, is that belt pretty. That is a gorgeous championship belt. Cannot state that enough, how pretty that belt is. And I'll be doing my own unboxing whenever that damn package comes. It's supposed to be here, like I said, at before 7 Eastern. I was hoping, but it did not come, and I'm not getting up now to check the mail until after my show's over. So it is what it is, as we say. Let's see. There's that. So there's a nice question. Okay. So there, okay, got that, okay. All right. So let's see. Yes, thank you, CJ. CJ, I appreciate your question. I appreciate your, let's get to that right now. I think the U.S. Championship is slightly underrated. I think it is just as good as the IC. I completely disagree. I think the U.S. Championship looks more like a toy that they upgraded to a actual in-ring. I'm just checking the whole damn camera. In-ring use championship belt. I have never been a fan of the U.S. title design in WWE, be it the spinner, be it the current, the regular design. Not a fan. I adore the Intercontinental Championship. I think that's one of the prettiest championship belts of all time, especially the current / classic design that Perfect used, and Tornado and the Warrior and Honky and all them, and the ones they have now with not the one right now. The IC belt right now is crap. I can't stand that damn belt. I mentioned this on the show previously. Can't stand it. It's nasty. But the classic white strap global design, if you will, love that thing to pieces. I just read about this, Mick, about the Velveteen Dream. I don't know what to think, to be honest with you. It's interesting that it happened again, when somebody makes it big or somebody gets a push, they get that push, damn it. That shit like this happens. So I don't know what to think. We'll have to see how the news plays out in the coming days and weeks, but don't be surprised if it gets ugly for him going forward with management. So with that, not the any other time the other compared to others to take a break, but I do want to get this in. Got to get my shit in because, well, I have friends and they have stuff to sell and stuff to promote. So we will be right back. All right. Don't forget, Greg Cherry is on with me on Rewinds, definitely on Wednesdays at 7 Eastern for Rewind. And of course, next Friday is the episode 2 of this new season, the new era, if you will, of WTC. So check that out. We'll be back on the air on Friday with the Wrestling Trivia Challenge. Yes, Mick. Obviously, innocent to proven guilty. It does not look good. But again, how many times have we seen stuff like it's happened with these guys, and then it ends up being bogus, or it ends up being trumped up charges, or whatever the case. So keep that in mind as we go forward. The next question comes from, again, Mr. Yuck, and I'm going to ask this, go into this here momentarily. Has wrestling forever moved beyond classic maneuvers such as the atomic drop, the double axe handle, the good old-fashioned bear hug for 2 minutes? Can you talk on the transition from back in our day to moves of today's product? Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the headlocks and the bear hugs, because I remember, I'll never forget this to this day. I remember exactly where I was standing in the moment I was having this conversation. I was outside the New Art Theater in West Los Angeles. I was getting ready to do one of our Rocky Horror performances on a Saturday night. And the same night that Pro Wrestling Guerrilla ran up in, it may have been Reseda by then. Maybe it was before Reseda. They were somewhere in the San Fernando Valley out here in California. And one of our Rocky performers came after PWG, rushed to the theater to perform for us at Rocky, and tells this tale of Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli doing a 30-minute or whatever it was, an hour-long headlock match. And I don't mean they traded headlocks back and forth for 60 minutes. I mean they had a headlock on, singular headlock, for an hour or 30 minutes, whatever it was. And that's what they did. They went to transition out of it, and then they went back into it. It could have been the biggest train wreck in indie wrestling, and the fans just ate it up. They just got into it completely. It was just crazy how over that moment got. And I think that even then, that was at least 15 years ago, if not a little bit less. But I don't think we're going to see something like that again. I only say that because the world is different now. The world is forever changed, and wrestling, today's fan doesn't want to see that. And I'm not saying that I don't myself, although a 30-minute match with one headlock on WWE TV would probably get eaten alive by any fan, and I wouldn't be fond of it myself on watching it on TV or in the crowd. But when you're in an indie show, when you're at something like that, people are just it's all about having fun. It's all about, being there as part of the experience, and they don't really care. They care, but what I mean is they don't care enough where they're going to, go on their social media and bitch for 20 minutes or something about it, like we do here on our various shows. But WWE TV and AEW TV or NWA TV is not designed for, that sort of environment being enabled. And yes, back in the day when I was a kid, or even before I was born, when wrestling was still, very much land of the giants, you had these matches where Andre would lock somebody in a bear hug for minutes and minutes and minutes. It would just take forever. Or, the heel would lock in Hogan, or would lock in Backlund into this, just this tight squeeze or whatever, and it would just take it would build it'd essentially be a rest hold if you know the insider terms or whatever, but it would get over because watching the babyface break out of that ridiculous stronghold by the big bad giant monster heel would be a great crowd heat producer. So it got over. I don't think that's how it is anymore, and that's why you don't see guys like Cesaro and guys like Nakamura and guys like, from that old school mentality getting as over as I feel, as you feel, as some of the other fans feel they should. It's not a knock on the talent, because those talents are amazing, especially a guy like Cesaro, who I will forever tout as one of the most underrated dudes in the history of professional wrestling. Bar none, die on that hill, I will go there. He is an incredible talent. He does not get near enough credit, and it's a crying friggin' shame that he doesn't. But Cesaro, if Cesaro had been born 20 years earlier, he'd have been the world champion already. He would have. He really would have. So there is that. Bruce Kraft, I love you too. I just got your comment on Facebook. That's great. That's it on Twitter. Wow. Okay, I guess I didn't get into this as I thought I did. So let's see what we got here. I like this from Cleaver Column. Let's bring it up. Thoughts on the reports of the NXT UK brand being in danger due to COVID? It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we're all having to make adjustments and having things endangered in our daily lives. And unfortunately, one of those things is the NXT UK brand, or NXT, or WWE, or AEW, or NWA, or Impact, or whatever. I am surprised that the NXT UK brand went this long without any real chance of a problem. It does surprise me they went as long as they did, because from what I hear, Europe is pretty banged up with the COVID stuff. So, again, don't know firsthand. I don't talk to people over there on a daily basis, so don't know what the real story is. But from what I have heard, it does not surprise me that it's happening, and it does surprise me it took as long as it did. Yes, CJ, Dolph Ziggler's not one of those guys where, but again, Dolph Ziggler's also a bump machine. Dolph Ziggler is the bumpinest heel that ever lived. If he was a baby face bumping like that, he'd be the multi-time world champion right now, because baby faces are designed to get beat up and decimated by the bigger, stronger monster heel, and instead Dolph is the heel, pulling the bullshit. So it's a very weird dynamic that Dolph has, but definitely underrated, grossly underrated. And there you go, straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. Mix in England, and everything's in lockdown. So, if everything's in lockdown in the primary country where UK brand records their shows, then kind of screwed. So there you go. CJ with another question. Let's see here. Do you think Drake Maverick will get his job back, and what do you think of the storyline? I think it is mean that they are doing this and don't rehire him. I would not be surprised if he, in fact, is allowing this to ride out as his swan song, and maybe he will take advantage of this release and go make his name in the Indies or make his name somewhere. Look, I am a huge fan of Drake Maverick. I love Spud. He is one of my favorites out of the modern days of TNA, Impact, whatever you want to call it, after the reshuffling of the product before he came to WWE. But he is so great as the general manager of 205. He has been great as a cruiserweight wrestler. He looked good in the on the show on Wednesday. I don't see him as being near as prolific as he was as a member of the TNA roster. Okay, that's not a knock on Drake. It's not a knock on him at all. I think he deserves to be. I don't think that those in power of WWE think he is capable of that. Again, not my opinion. Probably not your guys' opinion. You know, we got Colin right there. He hoped that Drake wins the championship. So, you know, again, you know, it's a shame. But will he win the championship? I think a loss on Wednesday is definitely last Wednesday that we saw was definitely a good step to build what we're going to see. Whatever we see. If he wins the tournament and becomes champion and keeps his job, that's awesome. But I don't think it's mean if they don't rehire him. What I think it is a great hook to get people to watch. And if Drake felt he was being wronged, he would just sit home for these 90 days. Okay? Let me just throw that out there. Let's see. Where did we go? Bobby Dean. Miz deserves to be a WWE Championship run. He needs another chance. You know, with all respect to Mike Miz, and then again, another guy you have tremendous respect for, nothing but love for the Miz. But I think he is one of the most underappreciated WWE champions of the last 10 years, if not the most. He really, his entire run as champion got overshadowed by the fact that John Cena was feuding with the Nexus, and by the fact that it was going to be John Cena challenging him. And then the very minute that The Rock walked into that building in Anaheim and returned to WWE for the first time, whatever it was, 7 years, that angle became about The Rock and Cena instead of the WWE champion. And that was a gross misuse of The Miz and his talent. So, yeah, if he deserves to be WWE champion again, but I want to see where they go with him and John Morrison first. I want to see that myself. I think both those guys have a lot of untapped potential as a team. And if they do go forward with, you know, if they lose the belts because of a tag loss or whatever, and then one blames the other and they go into a feud, a good, decent, well thought out feud, unlike the preemptively shortened stuff they had when John left the company, then I'm all for it. Mr. Anderson wants to know my thoughts on the releases of Zack Ryder, Kurt Angle, Heath Slater, and the others that WWE had to release. We talked about this on probably all my shows last week, honestly, because it was discussed at length, especially on Talk Wrestling last week. But most of them don't surprise me. Okay, most of them. And I'm not saying they deserve it. I'm not saying that any of them should have lost their job, whatever. But the majority of the talent on that cut sheet had not been used prolifically for quite some time. The one exception I will say is Kurt Angle being on that list. Now, the reason I say Kurt Angle is because you have a mind like Kurt Angle in your producer's pool, and you let him go, and don't even include him on the producer furloughing cut. You just outright cut him. That is cutting yourself off at the balls right there. He is one of the most keen minds that wrestling has ever had since he debuted, since he signed with WWE in 1998, since he won the gold medal with a broken freaking neck in 96. And he's got an untapped amount of talent up here as much as he does here, okay? Kurt Angle is one of the brightest minds that we've seen, and he got it right away. He got it at a time where it took guys twice or three times as long in wrestling school or the Funkin' Dojo or whatever to get it. Kurt got it right away. And Kurt deserves to be in a spot where he can pass along his talents and his knowledge and his input and his insight to others around him. Now, we are in a unique situation right now, as we all know. As you guys are watching this, you know, I've been in front of this fireplace, it feels like, for a month talking to you guys. It's like I don't go anywhere. Okay? I really don't. But you guys gotta understand something, that WWE is a business, just like any other corporation out there, any other company, mom and pop shop, whatever. They have to, decide how best to make that bottom line. And right now, the bottom line of pay-per-view / network buys, live event ticket sales, merchandise sales, and other things they have on the revenue stream are not balanced, because the live event ticket sales are zero, and they have been since before WrestleMania. So, they have to find a way. And again, I know people are going to say, "Oh, they got a $500 million revenue stream, and they're going to make a lot of money." That's fine. That's on other things, but they're paying these 40 people, whatever it is, to sit around and do nothing. They have people on the payroll that aren't doing anything, and they're not intending to let them do anything. Is it a reflection on the talent involved? No. Is it a reflection on WWE not knowing what to do with those talents? Yes. But at the same time, if you've got A, B, C, D on the roster and only C is being used every week, then A, B, and D got to go. It's just the way it is. I'm not going to have a company that I run, a multi-billion-dollar, conglomerate that, I'm going to have, 40 people sitting in a cubicle doing this 8 hours a day. If you're doing this or you're doing this and you're being proactive while you're on my employee roll call, then fine, I'll keep you around. But if I don't see a use for you in this time of I need to, narrow my output of shit going out stream, then you're going to get cut. Not a knock on anybody that got cut. It's just the way it is. And I know I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to say it again. I found it very disgusting that people were on there saying, "Oh, it should have been so-and-so instead of so-and-so." Nobody deserved to have happened to them what happened to them as far as these cuts, okay? And it was disgusting to see the internet turn on certain other talents and just say, "Oh, well, I wish it had been this guy." You really wish for somebody to get fired? How low can you be that you wish for somebody to lose their job in this time of complete chaos and isolation, that you'd rather see somebody get fired than encourage them to have better things happen to them? That's sickening. It really makes me gross. It makes me want to barf that you guys would think like that. It's really bad. So, Bobby Dean, could you see maybe in a few years from now Raw being TV-14, SmackDown being PG, family friendly? No. And I've mentioned this several times on all of my shows, and I'll say it again because it bears repeating. The WWE is in a licensing agreement with a toy company by the name of Mattel. And if you know anything about Mattel, Mattel is a primarily family-based, kid-friendly toy company. They make Barbie, as we know. Mattel makes Barbie. Barbie's their bread and butter as far as the toy manufacturing. As long as WWE is in a binding licensing agreement with a toy company that targets the 18 and under group, then they're going to go for the 18 and under audience on their product. You're not going to see anything above PG. They may go occasionally into the 14 pool, like, stick their toe in the deep end, kind of, sort of, but they're not going to go waist high into the deep end. They're just not going to do it because they see the bottom line as sponsorships, and that revenue stream is sick, which is why in the late 90s, early 2000s, when the 14 rating was prevalent and the PTC decided to target WWE decided to create the right to censor, because we're TV-14 and that we targeted the 1834 demo, and that's just who we are. You're not going to see that in today's WWE because they're not targeting 1834. You want TV-14 or 1834? TNT Wednesday nights. So there's where that TV-14 audience is right there. Is on Turner Wednesday nights 8:00. They are targeting all of those guys. So there you go. There's that. No, definitely won't be promoting the Girls Gone Wild pay-per-views on WWE anytime soon. That goes without question. Oh man, that's good. Speaking of commercials and sponsorships, we will be right back with it after this one. Stay tuned. Don't forget Aftermatch every Wednesday and every Thursday night or Friday. I forget what it is, but they have the NXT reviews. They've got NXT UK reviews. They've got different opinion pieces on there. Great channel. Can't recommend them enough. As Vince would say, they are good shit. So there you go. All right, more comments, and I love it. Comments just coming like crazy. I appreciate you guys interacting with me today. Much, much appreciated. I like your question, Mick. We'll go with it. What the hell? What's my favorite beer? I really don't have a favorite beer anymore. You know, I used to be more of a beer guy than a hard liquor guy in my early 20s. Although my first real alcohol in my early 20s when I turned 21 was the fruity drinks over at MGM, thanks to Aaron and XMB. Broom Key, right, Aaron? And the Hall of Flame, yes. So, right now, my favorite drink of choice is a little bit of honey Jack Daniels with some caffeine-free Coke Zero, because I don't want to be up all night, but I do enjoy my drink. But if I'm going to drink a beer, it'll probably be a Blue Moon, honest to God. And it's funny that CJ mentions Blue Moon Mango. I'm a classic Blue Moon myself. I do enjoy the Blue Moon. I like Shock Top as well. Those are both too good, the orange-flavored beers. But on a given day, if there happens to be a choice of beer and I'm out somewhere, probably 805. And that's because of my sister. I blame her for that completely. She got me in the 805s staying with her when I did. So it's there you guys go. So favorite beer. I've never tried this. This sounds good. I'm going to have to give this a shot here, although I'm not really a big cherry soda person, Colin. I do and do enjoy the honey jack, so maybe the honey jack with the cherry Pepsi will be worth a try. I'm not a big fan of the overly syrupy, which is why I don't drink a lot of the hard brown sodas like cherry Pepsi or the regular Coke or whatever. Kind of in a diet phase as far as the soda is concerned, but it's funny. I don't like the taste of Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, but I do like Pepsi Max and Coke Zero. Go figure. I don't know about artificially flavored. I think that they try to appeal to the Blue Moon crowd, and maybe they try too hard. You see, I'm not a big cherry person myself either, Colin. Never been into cherry really anything. Matter of fact, when they put cherries on my sundaes or whatever, I give it to my mom just because I'm not a fan. They put cherries in the milkshakes at the Jack in the Box. I'm like, there you go, I'm good. So, and yes, without question, Colin, Coke Zero is the best Coke. Although I will recommend. Do I have a can back here? I don't. I've been enjoying the caffeine-free Coke Zero recently, and it's actually been really, really surprisingly tasty. And as somebody who can't have a lot of caffeine in a given moment, very, very rarely do I have caffeine anymore. I do enjoy the caffeine-free Coke Zero, so there's that. So, yeah, there we go. That was an interesting little sidebar there. That was cool. So, SmackDown is tonight. For those of you unaware about SmackDown's content, tonight is Triple H's 25th anniversary. Holy cow, did I feel old when I first saw that commercial. It's like I remember distinctly Hunter's debut vignettes with the Hunter Hearst Helmsley character and the whole thing with the Northeastern aristocrat gimmick. It was so corny, and it took him a good 2 years to really break out of that nasty shell they dug for him and become the degenerate that he became. And then, of course, the game, and went on to be the King of Kings and the Cerebral Assassin, and now the COO and one of the owners of the company, or one of the main people in charge of the company, and the creator of NXT. Really, it's he really. I'll have it, Anderson. I wanted to get that for I hit the wrong button there. Yes, his comeback in the Garden back in 02, which 18 years. Again, I feel old. One of the loudest pops I've ever heard on TV to this day. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. The loudest pop I've ever heard live so far was Austin in 03 when he came back off air at LA, and when Hogan came out for the June Raw that I was at in 2005, because those are both amazing pops. But yeah, Triple H, it's amazing. It's kind of another reason I wanted to go early. I wanted to make sure I got done with this, wrapped up, studio put aside, and got ready, because I wanted to see how they're going to present SmackDown, and how if they're gonna make it primarily a Triple H show, if they're gonna make it a advanced storylines, one of the Money in the Bank. Also, I do want to see the tag title match with the girls, with Carmella and Dana against Nikki and Alexa. That'll be a cool match, but I want to see they're going to Triple H. So the ladder match with Rock at 98 was really, really well done. Very solid show. I'm actually approaching SummerSlam 98 on my Attitude Era / Monday Night War watch through. So looking forward to that show. Love the Highway to Hell theme. All together great. Question from Mr. Anderson. Thoughts about who the Mystery Hacker is on SmackDown? I heard it was two different people in the videos. They had different voices. The rumor and innuendo, if you want to call it that, is they've had Ali do it and they've had Gable do it. So, again, I think they're having people just sit in the gimmick until they figure out who they want to have do it. But it may be Ali, because they haven't done anything with the guy. So I like to see Ali do it. That'd be a cool gimmick for him to have something different, something unique that they haven't had in a while. It would be awesome. So that would be very, very cool. Bobby Dean, again, thank you so much for your comments. You were at One Night Stand in San Diego in 2008, Taker versus Edge. I was supposed to be at that show, didn't make it, but I was supposed to be. It was a cool show. Hunter wrestled that. Didn't he? He had a match that night, right? Or am I remembering that incorrectly? We'll come back to that. CJ with a question. What is your favorite WWF WWE logo of all time? Oh, if you mean the actual company logo itself, I will have to go with the classic block logo from the early 80s to the early 90s. The classic WWF little block logo. That's what I grew up on. That's what I came into watching wrestling with. The scratch logo is a classic logo. It's a very prolific logo, very pronounced logo as far as the lexicon of sports entertainment, and it was the logo during the most prolific time in wrestling. But for my money, it's all about that block logo. Hogan, Savage, Andre, the Warrior, the Bulldogs, the Hearts, those guys. That's what it's all about. For me personally, I am not sure about that, Mr. Anderson. Somebody in the chat room on any platform can fill me in on that. If you're watching on Periscope or on Facebook, I will try to actually get Facebook up right now. That way I can have that answer in front of me. I'm not sure if they have any qualifying matches on SmackDown tonight or not. I'd like to see some qualifying matches. I think they had some on Raw, did they not, with the guys? So why not have some other matches? Kind of fill the show a little bit, because if you have one tag team title match and end up there's no comments. Okay, fine. One tag title match and a 2-hour tribute to Triple H, you're not going to have very much of a show. Triple H has a lot of great moments, but you're not going to fill 2 hours with Triple H stuff only and one tag team title match. So hopefully there's some Money in the Bank qualifying matches. I remember Orton getting injured at One Night Stand. I don't remember it being Hunter, but again, I wasn't there. I don't remember a lot of that. I do. My memory of that match specifically is the big table spot with Undertaker and then Edge holding the championship, and then the big celebration with La Familia. That's what I remember the most of that whole night. It was something. It was a great night, great show, great ending, great build toward the Hell in the Cell at SummerSlam and the descent into madness from Edge. It was Edge played that insane, crazy, maniacal, diabolical heel to a T. He just did so well on that. Can't praise Adam Copeland enough for his contributions during that time. He was so underrated, in my personal opinion. So there you go. Let's see what we have on tap here. Just reading through comments here. Okay, very good. Tell you what, let me do this. I'll do this right now because we're gonna wrap up here probably around 7:30. I'm hoping. We'll see. Tomorrow, right here on the Jeff Meacham Network, will be a new show. So there'll be a show every Saturday. Hopefully, we get them edited in time overnight Friday into Saturday morning, and Saturday morning around morning for me. How about that? Right around 1 or 2 Eastern. Hopefully, if things all work out, maybe even earlier. We have a brand new show. Check it out. There you go. Go for the pin. Tomorrow, right here, at least on YouTube. I'm not sure about Facebook or the Twitter pages yet, but we'll see if I can get those edited in as well. So stay tuned for that show tomorrow. Mike AQ and King V have asked me to add them to the lineup. I figured, you know what? I ain't got to do shit except editing, so I'm all about that. Less I got in the weekends, the better. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Of course, you can check out our official store on Teespring. Let me get the overlay, if you will. It's going to be teespring.com/store/Jeff-Meacham-Network. You can get your Jeff Meacham Network logo t-shirt, 3 different kinds of Wrestling Rewind t-shirts. Yes, there's a white one available also. I'm not a fan of that one myself, but if you like white shirts, buy that shirt. The Meacham's Musing shirt, the Talk Wrestling shirt, this very show shirt, and of course, your MEACHAMANIA stuff is all right there for you. Dive. Again, teespring.com/store/Jeff-Meacham-Network. Can't praise Greg Clifton enough over at the Twilight Shift. He's been a dear friend since 2nd grade. And for me, that goes back to 1990. So 30 years this year. Long time, folks. Thank you, Mick. Appreciate that. Best of luck with the new show. I appreciate the well wishes. Again, Mike and King V are going to be doing that show pretty much on their own. I'm going to be editing in, the commercials you see on the show every week and things like that. But it's pretty much going to be their show. They're going to recap Raw and Dynamite and NXT and SmackDown and maybe other stuff going forward. So I'm can't wait to see it myself. I'm looking forward to putting it together for you guys. So that'll be on tomorrow. My thoughts on Ultimate Dragon. You're Mike Tenay and him, sir. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Okay. I don't want to hear myself talk. I see Caitlin's watching. Hello, Caitlin. Thank you for coming in. On Facebook, appreciate it. I love Ultimate Dragon. I thought he got an unfortunate break in WWE with the whole tripping thing at the Garden, but I think that had he been able to recover better from that, it would have been better off for him. I think he would have done a lot better without the faux pas, if you will, at the Garden. So that is that. All right, I'm going to cut it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the input, appreciate the support all day and all throughout the show. Don't forget, tomorrow. Go for the pin tomorrow morning, hopefully around 10 Pacific, maybe a little bit earlier if I can work it out. So I'll do it for this week. Meet you on Monday, Old School Tuesday, Wrestling Rewind Wednesday. Maybe on Thursday I'll be on the NoDQ review. We'll see how that plays out. And Thursday I'll be on the NoDQ review, as I said, maybe. And Friday we're back here to talk wrestling on next week. So, I got one more question. All right, I'll answer. Of course I will. I'll get there. It's not loading. Why isn't it loading? There it is. There we go. What'd you say, Mr. Anderson? Is Rob Gronkowski signed with the WWE? And if so, how's he going back to defend the 24/7 championship? Now he's back in the NFL. As far as I know, he signed with WWE, but I doubt the Bucks are going to want him to play. Wrestle if he's going to be playing football. So we'll see. We'll see if the season even starts. That's the key. If football goes into training camp, we're going to lose Gronk. So it's as simple as that. So for everybody here at JEFF MEACHAM Network, NoDQ.com, Aftermatch, everybody else, we will see you guys next week right here on Talk Wrestling.